Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. You're listening to the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. I'm your host, Dr. Aaron Ernst. Hey, it's a show where pounds are shed, disease is dead, and where you can be set free from your health problems. What an incredible show topic I have for you guys today. At the request of many of our listeners, we have been asked to talk about calming down anxiety, helping us to be less stressed. We want more peace. We want more joy. We want more happiness in our life. So I'm going to do a show today on anxiety, but more importantly on why is it that so many of us are so worried and stressed out. And it does have a lot to do with your health. It has a lot to do with your well-being, and it has an even more important aspect because once you realize where anxiety comes from, you're going to see there's two brains in your body. Medicine, conventionally, looks at this brain up here in your head and says, whoo, your hormones are off balance. Not enough serotonin or too much dopamine or not enough dopamine or too much, and a plethora of prescription pills for you to swallow to make you feel better. And some of you may be saying, hey, listen, I'm either taking them and yeah, they might help, but they're not working. Guess what? You're going to find a way today to knock anxiety to the curb. Now, maybe you're not taking any of them, but you're like, listen, yeah, I get a little worried, I get a little nervous, I'm having a hard time sleeping at night, my brain keeps cranking. Is that anxiety? Well, technically, yes. By definition, anxiety is a mind that is constantly focused on things that have yet to come with that consistent what if. How do we differentiate that from depression? Well, depression is a focus on things that is in the past. Oh, this happened to me and therefore I feel this way. Or do you remember when that? And, it's this sort of like doom and gloom of things that have already occurred. People who are depressed tend to have a lot of hard times letting go of the past. People who are anxious have a hard time letting go of a future that hasn't even happened, but to them, it has. The old adage of like, what if the world was to end? What if I get in a car accident? What if, if I have children, if they get abducted? What if this happens and what if that happens? One of the first things we can do if we are a what-ifer is we can actually try to play around with the what if from a positive perspective. Usually anxiety is a negative. What if this happens that's wrong? Or what if this explodes? What if my car breaks down? What if I lose my job? Well, what if we instead said, what if you got a promotion? What if you found $1,000 while walking around today? $100 on the side of the road. What if you had something great happen into your life? I'd like to say if we can have a positive anxiety, then, hey, that's a good anxiety to have. And here's something as a shock. Did you know that anxiety is actually a normal, healthy response when timed appropriately? I want you to think of it as like your spidey sense. You guys know, listen, I've got a 5-year-old reading lots of Spider-Man comics books right now. And so it's kind of like, Spider-Man's like, oh, something's about to happen. See, notice the future. And for his perspective, it's always this warning light, like, hey, I need to get ready. I need to take action. So I want you to think of your anxiety, if you have it, as spidey sense that's on overdrive, and we need to turn and use it appropriately. What is that spidey sense of anxiety doing? It's trying to tell you something's going on in your body or in how you process your emotions, etc. We can go psychosomatic and psychological. Yes, there's that aspect. But being the Ask Dr. Ernst show, I want to go, what's going on inside your body that could create anxiety? Rarely are people talking about this. And I pulled a fresh article. Hey, look, if you're watching our live stream, facebook.com/AskDrErnst, youtube.com/AskDrErnst. You guys see this? For those of you who are on the air, guess what? The Gut Connection. April of this year, Harvard published. Pay attention to your gut-brain connection. It may contribute to your anxiety and your digestive problems. Wait a second. What does that say? Your gut may make you anxious. And so I started reading this, and I'm going, have you ever had that gut-wrenching experience, the sort of nervousness, the anxiety? Have you felt butterflies in your stomach? When these expressions happen, your gastrointestinal system is creating the emotional response. What? Anger, anxiety, sadness, and even elation are all triggered in your gut. Your brain has a direct effect on your stomach and intestines, and therefore your intestines can have a direct effect on your brain. The connection goes both ways. A troubled intestine sends signals to your brain just as a troubled brain can send signals to your gut. Now listen to this. This is the best part. Therefore, a person's stomach or intestinal issue, leaky gut, dysbiosis, acid reflux, indigestion, can cause anxiety, stress, or depression. So guess what, guys? This year, they are finally acknowledging what I have been talking about for the last 15 years, which is your gut is your second brain. Let's go deeper. Again, man, I hope you're watching the live stream because you'll see this physically after the show today. I'll post these infographics. But look at this. 2 brains in one body. You have the brain up here in your skull. Then you have the brain of your enteric nervous system, your gut response. And listen, guys, your brain produces a little tiny bit of neurotransmitters. They're finding out only 5% of all the serotonin. And listen, why do we have to talk about serotonin? It's your feel-good hormone. It's what the doctors are trying to get higher in your brain when they give you an SSRI or an SNRI. If you're taking Effexor or Cymbalta or Zoloft or Paxil, there's so many, I have to look at a list. Lexapro, Celexa, Valium, Xanax, can't even pronounce that one. That's a tough one. Okay, if you're on a pill to make your brain feel better, serotonin and GABA, another hormone we have to talk about, there's your answer. But look, only 5% of the serotonin you need to feel good's in your brain. Where's the rest of it? 95% in your gut. We have to talk about how your gut talks to your brain and how that's what makes you anxious. That's what messes up our mood. Woo! Can you tell I'm excited? Hey, listen, next Saturday, gosh, it's only 7 days away. Energy and Healing, our webinar, Energy, Endless, and Healing. If you want to lose 10 to 15 pounds in 4 weeks, pick up the phone, 704-906-2094. If you want your energy back, 704-906-2094. Hey, text your name and your email. Registration is free. This is your last chance. It's next Saturday, 704-906-2094. It's the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. We'll be right back.
Sterling believes in the science of CBD. Here's 3 great reasons to choose Sterling CBD. Reason number 1, Sterling is pure CBD. Sterling CBD is made from pure CBD isolate. We remove all the THC and unnecessary compounds, leaving only pure CBD. Reason number 2, backed by science. The U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, USADA, has approved CBD for U.S. Olympic athletes, but they only approve pure CBD, like Sterling CBD. Reason number 3, our organic hemp is FDA approved. At Sterling CBD, we quality control test at every manufacturing stage. We start with organic hemp plants and track them to our FDA-registered food-grade extraction facility. Our pure CBD products include capsules, isolates, lotions, and oils. We even have CBD pet products. You can find Sterling CBD at drernstscbd.com. Use the coupon code Dr. Ernst for 20% off your order.
How come there are people who drink a pint of whiskey a day for 20, 30 years, and at the end of it only 20 or 30% become cirrhotic? What happened to the others? And we speculated, we hypothesized, oh, it's the enzyme, alcoholic dehydrogenase made by the stomach. Maybe it's different, maybe it's genes, maybe it's polymorphism. The answer appears to be coffee. If you drink that much alcohol and drink 1 cup of regular coffee a day, 20% reduction in alcoholic cirrhosis risk, 2 cups 40%, 4 cups 80%. It's not a license to drink heavily and drink coffee and protect your liver. You could still get Korsakoff psychosis, cardiomyopathy, pancreatitis, kill people on the road, ruin your marriage, but it does protect the liver. It's pretty amazing.
Here's a secret your grocery store does not want you to know. At ThriveMarket.com, get up to 50% off all your organic groceries delivered to your door for free. Shop organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, and paleo. And get a free jar of coconut oil. Thrive Market. Wholesome products, wholesale prices. Get your free coconut oil today only at ThriveMarket.com.
Good afternoon. Hey, it's Saturday, and you're listening to the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. I'm your host, Dr. Aaron Ernst. It's a show where pounds are shed, disease is dead, and where you can be set free from your anxiety. We're talking today about how we feel, our mood, our affect. Listen, I hate to say this. I looked this up. Did you know that last year, during this same time, October, between October and December, there were 20 million prescriptions written for an anti-anxiety medication? That's like 3 months. 20 million people were swallowing anti-anxiety medications this time last year, and they anticipate that this year there's going to be between a 23% to 25% elevation. That should make you say, OMG, what's going on? Why are so many people anxiety-ridden? It's not what you think that you've been told. Okay, there's no gene for anxiety. They haven't found that. There's no, I'll call it sort of like, diagnostic criteria for anxiety. Well, there is. Technically, you can be diagnosed as having an anxiety disorder, but it's not like you find it on a lab. You can't just go run blood work and be like, oh, looks like there's anxiety. You can't have an MRI of your brain and say, hey, there's the anxiety center going bad. We have been struggling for years and years and years to figure out why so many people are worried, stressed out, freaking out, can't calm down. And as of late, and when I say late, again, I mean April of this year. If you're watching our live stream, April 1st or 19th, I'm holding up a page I printed off from Harvard, their website, Harvard Health, and they have this article. It's very fascinating. Pay attention to your gut-brain connection. It can contribute to your anxiety and your digestive disorders. I've been talking about this on my show for as long as I can remember. Every second we've been on the air, we talk about how your gut is connected to the majority of your health. There's gut heart, there's gut thyroid, there's gut brain, and this gut-brain axis is so vitally important if you want to feel good. And here's what most of us are missing. We're using things that are from the outside. So, and listen, there's nothing wrong with this, but like a medication to make you feel better, okay? If you're in that group, if you're someone taking an antidepressant, an anti-anxiety medication, I mean, I get it. I work with patients all day long. I'm here to tell you right now, there's a way out. You have to stop making your brain chemistry different, and you have to make the chemistry of your gut different. How do we know that? Well, there was a study published. I'm holding up another infographic, guys. Why is it so important to watch us online as well? Because you'll see what I'm talking about. Plus, you get to see the camera interact with us. Take a moment. AskDrErnst.com is the website. Facebook.com/AskDrErnst is the live stream. YouTube.com/AskDrErnst, another live stream. And it's a way you can engage. All right, so look, two brains. Brain in your head, brain in your gut. What they have discovered recently, 95% of serotonin. I know it's small, so I'll read it to you. 95% of serotonin is made in your gut. Why is it so important? Well, guess what? The number one prescribed anti-anxiety medication is what's known as an SSRI, and the newer SNRIs, which is a serotonin norepinephrine uptake reinhibitor. What this means is they're trying to make your brain have more serotonin, norepinephrine inside of it. What do we know about serotonin? It makes you feel good. It's a relaxant. It's sort of like I don't want to call it a high, but it's like, man, I'm just relaxed. I'm at peace. I feel great. What they're finding out is if you don't have enough serotonin in your brain, you tend to have high levels of anxiety. So go figure, Big Pharma came along and said, well, let's make a drug that stops serotonin from leaving the brain so we can elevate the serotonin levels in your brain. Lexapro, Prozac, Zoloft, Celexa, those are all serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Well, unfortunately, we've been taking them for a long period of time, and many people still have anxiety and depression and, issues with their way they feel. So newer serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor, an SNRI that makes both serotonin and norepinephrine stay inside your brain. This is the Cymbalta, Effexors, and the category that fall in that. Now, there's another class that's used, a benzodiazepine. This is Xanax and Valium. These guys work specifically on trying to get more GABA in your brain. Why am I talking about this? Well, look, if Big Pharma spends billions of dollars trying to figure out what can make you feel better is if you have more serotonin, more norepinephrine, and more GABA in your brain, let's piggyback off their research and say, how can I get more serotonin, norepinephrine, and GABA in my brain naturally? At least that's the way I look at it. Okay, number one, you ready for this? You have to pay attention. If you take anxiety medications, if you're anxious a lot, if you're that person that can't fall asleep because you're like, my brain's going 1,000 miles a minute, I'm thinking about things that might happen, what if this, what if that? Okay, ready? You got to pay attention to these red lines. Okay, what are you talking about? I can't see these. Dr. Ernst, what are those? These are nerves that connect your gut, your large intestine, your stomach, to your brain through your spinal cord. Now, I know this is going to sound weird, but you have to understand, we're recently figuring this out. Anxiety is actually a neurological condition. It's a disruption in the communication between your brain proper and your second brain, and usually that disruption takes place because of either an alignment issue in your spine, compression to the vagus nerve, or some sort of communicative problem, neurotoxins, etc., that are preventing that communication between your gut and your brain. Research shows 95% of that hormone you want, serotonin, that the doctors are trying to make higher in your brain with the SSRIs and the SNRIs is produced not in your brain, but in your gut. So think about this. Your gut is trying to make this hormone. So we have to ask the question, why isn't it doing that? Well, here we go. Step number one. You're eating foods that are destroying your intestines, making the serotonin production go down. You don't have enough healthy bacteria in your gut, which actually make the neurotransmitters. There's a toxicity issue. Either you have a parasite or heavy metals or, heaven forbid, go figure, pesticides and herbicides in your gut. You would be amazed at the number of people that I've worked with over the last 15 years that say, gosh, I was able to get off these meds that I've been on. And it's not just anxiety. It's also blood pressure and cholesterol, etc. But, I'm no longer requiring the need to medicate my brain. Why? We can get your gut turned around. Okay, I'm going to hold up an x-ray, and you might say, why am I looking at something like this, all right? This is my neck, just so you guys know. I had this x-ray taken, in May of this year. So I get x-rays every year of my spine. Why? I need to make sure this thing is well aligned. These are my teeth. This is my jaw. What are you talking about, Dr. Ernst? I'm driving in the car. Okay, just pay attention. See if you can visibly see this. My skull has to have an open space for the brain stem to come out of it. Cranial nerves exit between these 2 points. Why am I talking about cranial nerves? Cranial nerve number 10, vagus nerve, exits out here, leaves the spinal system, goes down the esophagus, into your throat, runs your intestines. The space between your skull and your first bone on the front and the back is the most important of what needs to be assessed. If you have anxiety, if you want to lose weight, if you have a medication that you take for said condition, if you have a diagnosis, if you're walking around with a label on your forehead that says, I am a fill in the blank, diabetic, blood pressure, cholesterol, you name it, psoriasis, if there's a condition you've been labeled with, You need to check here first. And I know that's the exact opposite of what everyone's teaching you. We need to see if this atlas is aligned properly with the skull. Now, those of you watching online, hey, let's engage our Facebook and YouTube viewers. Would you agree with me that this is rather parallel? So there's an open space in the front and the back. I know that my vagus nerve is open, wide open, in fact. I know there's a curve in my neck, and I know that the alignment is in normal pattern. So for me, this brain up here has no problem sending signals down the spine into my intestinal system. So I have a really good open connection between my brain and my gut. So back to the analogy of what Harvard's talking about. This nerve for me is wide open. Question, what is it for you? You may be thinking, well, I don't know. This is why it's so important to visit with a holistic physician who's integrative and can help you to discover the root system of your health issues. Hey, listen, I have a webinar next Saturday. If you would like to join us in a live method where I can physically speak directly to you, and we can talk about your health issues and we can connect the dots. We're talking about energy. We're talking about weight loss. We're talking about anxiety. That webinar is next Saturday. It's free. Okay, but here's the number one thing I see. A lot of times when I either connect with a radio listener, it happened just this past week. Did a phone call, someone booked a consultation, which by the way is free. You go to our website, Ask Dr. Ernst, click on the consult tab. I can chat with you about your health. And you know what? It was interesting. He goes like this. Hey, Dr. Ernst, I just want to let you know, I've been listening to your radio show for about 7 years. And I really like what you say. It sounds like you know a ton of stuff. You know, I've been to a lot of doctors, and they seem to be scratching their heads. And so I'd like to potentially start working with you. My first question, 7 years, huh? Why the call today and not 2 years, 5 years, or 7 years ago? And you know what he said? He goes, well, you know, just my life, things get in the way, etc. But now my health's a priority. And I said, well, whoa. If your health's a priority all of a sudden, something must have happened. And now here's where the story goes deeper. Well, I was just recently diagnosed with this, and I've been taking this, and now I'm having these reactions. You see how this works? And so he goes, I just watched your webinar, and you blew my mind away with everything you were talking about. You showed the at-home tests. You showed what I can do. I want to now do this. I want to get my life, my health, my energy back. That's usually how it happens. So if you join us for this webinar, not only is it free, but you're going to find out for your specific health issue. We customize them straight to you. But you have to pick up the phone to get on it. So that's where 704-906-2094 comes in handy. What's the number? 704-906-2094. Call it now. I have a call center they'll pick up. Just name and email is all they need. Or if you don't want to speak to anybody, just text your name and your email, and we'll get you registered. We're breaking anxiety. We're destroying weight. Right? Our average patient loses between 10 to 15 pounds in as little as 4 to 6 weeks. How is that possible? Well, watch this. When you reconnect your vagus nerve to your gut, and your gut starts to talk to your brain, you start burning fat like crazy out of the gut, and you lose weight. Did you know your vagus nerve can also be responsible for how much food you intake, your satiety, when you're hungry, how much thirst you have? In fact, the vagus nerve controls every major organ system in your body, from your heart to your lungs, to your stomach, to your pancreas, to your liver, and your intestines. So if you have vagal nerve damage, if this space is not open on your x-ray, you know what that tells us? Root cause number 1 of your health issues. Specifically today, it's anxiety. Why? Well, your stomach is trying to make those hormones. It has to get up through the vagus nerve to get into your brain. Medicine throws pills here. What does functional medicine do? We clean the house down here. We open up that nerve there, and you watch, man, anxiety, gone. Elation, happiness, joy, energy. If you're looking for that, 704-906-2094. That's to register for next Saturday's webinar. And don't go away. When I come back, the foods that suck the energy out of your body and make you anxious, and some of the supplements you can use to help you transition into a happier, healthier you. Oh, that sounds like fun, doesn't it? 704-906-2094 to register for next Saturday's webinar. It's the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. We'll be right back.
Sterling believes in the science of CBD. Here's 3 great reasons to choose Sterling CBD. Reason number 1, Sterling is pure CBD. Sterling CBD is made from pure CBD isolate. We remove all the THC and unnecessary compounds, leaving only pure CBD. Reason number 2, backed by science. The U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, USADA, has approved CBD for U.S. Olympic athletes, but they only approve pure CBD, like Sterling CBD. Reason number 3, our organic hemp is FDA approved. At Sterling CBD, we quality control test at every manufacturing stage. We start with organic hemp plants and track them to our FDA-registered food-grade extraction facility. Our pure CBD products include capsules, isolates, lotions, and oils. We even have CBD pet products. You can find Sterling CBD at drernstscbd.com. Use the coupon code Dr. Ernst for 20% off your order.
How come there are people who drink a pint of whiskey a day for 20, 30 years, and at the end of it, only 20 or 30% become cirrhotic? What happened to the others? And we speculated, we hypothesized, oh, it's the enzyme, alcoholic dehydrogenase made by the stomach. Maybe it's different. Maybe it's genes. Maybe it's polymorphism. The answer appears to be coffee. If you drink that much alcohol and drink 1 cup of regular coffee a day, 20% reduction in alcoholic cirrhosis risk. 2 cups, 40%. 4 cups, 80%. It's not a license to drink heavily.
Right.
And drink coffee and protect your liver. You know, you could still get Korsakoff psychosis, cardiomyopathy, pancreatitis, kill people on the road, ruin your marriage, but it does protect the liver. It's pretty amazing.
Here's a secret your grocery store does not want you to know. At ThriveMarket.com, get up to 50% off all your organic groceries delivered to your door for free. Shop organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, and paleo. And get a free jar of coconut oil. Thrive Market. Wholesome products, wholesale prices. Get your free coconut oil today only at ThriveMarket.com.
So this is the difference between biodynamic and conventional farming. Let's look at the difference in vineyards here. You have very green grass and herbs and life growing, and then dead soil over here. So this is a conventional vineyard where they spray pesticides, they use a lot of tractors to pull up the soil. This soil is dead, it's dry. There's no life. This is Klaus's vineyard. It's farmed biodynamically. Everything is picked by hand and they don't use any chemicals. So there's life, there's green grass, everything grows. This is the big disparity between conventional farming and biodynamic farming, and you can see it perfectly side by side. We prefer this wine, of course, because this wine is dead. There's nothing living in it.
Good afternoon. It's Saturday. You're listening to the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. I'm your host, Dr. Aaron Ernst. It's the show where pounds are shed, disease is dead, and where you can be set free. Today we're talking about being set free from anxiety, a condition that affects a lot of Americans. In fact, too many, if you ask me. Last year, between October and December, we talked about this. 20 million antidepressants were prescribed. That's last year. This year, they anticipate another 23 to 25% will be given, simply because most of us are saying, gosh, I can't seem to calm down. I'm stressed out. I've had people say it's kind of like an internal vibration sense, a heaviness, this jittery, an itchiness, an explosion, a volcanic reaction, etc. Well, guys, guess what? It's a hormone issue. It has to do with norepinephrine, serotonin, and this precursed hormone, which is actually a big hormone called GABA. When these hormones are out of balance, you will literally feel like your life is on overdrive. I want to make sure I highlight very quickly, just since if you're not tuned in since the top of the hour, anxiety is actually something that you want to have in periods of time. Think of it as your fight or flight. I talked a lot at the top of the hour about it's kind of like your spidey sense, okay? Spider-Man had that ability to sort of go, something's about to happen, okay? And then he could react in an appropriate method. Well, guess what? Anxiety is your body's natural, hey, something's about to happen. And you need that in short periods of time, sort of under a fight or flight mode. But when an email makes that, or when your wife getting home, or your boss showing up, or your kids playing with you, or just waking up in the morning becomes that, then we have a challenge. Then we have this sort of like generalized anxiety disorder, which so many people deal with. And Big Pharma's cashing in on it. There are many different medications. Some of you may know these by name. Some of you may say, gosh, I take one of these, so how can I get off of them? Pay attention. Cymbalta, Effexor, Lexapro, Prozac, Zoloft, Celexa, Xanax, Valium. List goes on and on and on. What they do is they try to make that hormone more abundant in your brain. So again, let's piggyback off what Big Pharma has found out. We need more of those hormones in our brain. So where do they come from? Well, the recent research is showing they're made in your gut, not in your brain, in your gut. Only 5% of your serotonin that you use is made in your brain. 95% of it is in your intestines. So we have to ask the question, well, if it's made in the gut, how does it get to the brain? Well, Harvard recently published a study back in April of 2021 showing it's this connection that you have between your gut and your brain called the gut-brain axis. Now, what is the gut-brain axis? Well, it's the vagal nerve system's cranial nerve response signaling that the intestines send up to the brain, and it's the spinal cord and how it communicates back and forth. This brain here, your gut, has to talk to this brain here. So just think of it like this. If there's a disruption in communication, your brain doesn't get all the hormones and you become worried, stressed, anxious, etc. How do we detect something like this, an interference? Well, we can take a special x-ray. I'm showing you all mine. Those of you who are watching our live stream, we want to look right here at the base of your skull, the top of your neck, just behind your teeth. There's what's called your atlas, first cervical bone, the occiput, your skull. And if this space here is not open, this here, if it's closed, pinched, damaged, etc., if it's out of alignment, then you have a breakdown in the neurological connection between your brain and your gut. Okay, I've seen this clinically. I've been in practice now 15 years. It's like flying by, but guess what? It's really only 15 years. Yet in 15 years, I've seen thousands of people with anxiety get their life back when they reset this gut-brain axis. What are the things that trigger it? What makes it worse? Well, number one, an alignment issue. Guys, this is why if you go online and you type in chiropractic and anxiety, you're going to see case study after case study. I went to my chiropractor, started getting adjusted. Not only do I feel better, but I'm less stressed. The gut-brain axis is reconnecting by reducing the vagus nerve. Next major trigger, go figure, the foods you eat. Have you ever noticed, if you've ever done this, if you fast for like a day or two, it's like, wow, your energy comes back. You feel more focused. Usually most people tell me they generally just feel better. Well, you're giving your gut a break of all the stuff that you've been eating. We know that sugar and processed foods cause an inflammatory process in your intestine. So the number one destroyer or the number one aggravator of anxiety is refined processed carbohydrates. That includes grains, so gluten that's found in wheat, and even other grains that don't have gluten, corn and rice and oats. We know for a fact, listen to this, studies have found that the added flavorings, even natural flavorings, artificial and natural, can trigger an anxiety response. Aspartame, MSG, monosodium glutamate, which is what MSG is, artificial colorings, high fructose corn syrup, guar gum, sodium benzenate, trans fats, and anything that's a coloring agent, yellow number this or blue number that, have been shown to irritate your gut-brain axis and make you more anxious. So hopefully you see my approach. Get rid of the neurological interference. Get rid of the dietary interference, and you'll see your anxiety turn the tide really fast. Listen to this. This is a tough one for a lot of you. Vegetable oils. There's research showing that the high omega-6 fatty acids found in things like canola, corn, soybean, sunflower, safflower, cottonseed, and even peanut oils can irritate the intestines, decrease the production of the hormones you need in your brain, and trigger anxiety. Why is this such a big deal? Every time you go out to eat, the food they cook with or the oils they use are those: canola, corn, peanut, cottonseed. I hate to say it, there's even some restaurants that pride themselves. We cook in only peanut oil, as if it's a healthy oil. No! What are the oils we should be cooking in? Coconut and avocado, and that's about it. Conventional meat products, so the sandwiches that we have for lunch, right? The ham, the roast beef, the turkey. A lot of these meat products are highly processed. They come from animals that are usually treated with hormones and antibiotics, and they're often fed grains. If grains that you eat can make your brain anxious, imagine what it does to the animals. And then we eat the food that's highly inflamed. And we also know that caffeine, while it might give you more energy temporarily, is a known trigger and an irritant for those who have anxiety. So what do we need to do? We need to cut our caffeine. We need to stop eating conventional, I'll call them sort of meat products. We have to cut out all vegetable oils, all of them, all the artificial flavorings, the gluten and the grains, reducing our processed foods and our sugars, and now your gut will start to heal itself. The irritation to the intestines starts to diminish. You combine that with seeking out really good structural chiropractic care to reset this, your gut-brain axis through your atlas, and you watch peace and joy and love and happiness can start to come back because it's already inside of you. If you'd like to go deeper with your health, maybe you're diagnosed and you want to get off a prescription. Hey, maybe you want to lose 20 pounds in as little as 4 to 6 weeks. Next Saturday, it's the Endless Energy and Healing webinar, and it's completely free. It's at 10 a.m., 704-906-2094 to register. Again, text your name and your email, 704-906-2094. Don't go away. The best is yet to come with the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. We'll be right back.
Sterling believes in the science of CBD. Here's 3 great reasons to choose Sterling CBD. Reason number 1, Sterling is pure CBD. Sterling CBD is made from pure CBD isolate. We remove all the THC and unnecessary compounds, leaving only pure CBD. Reason number 2, backed by science. The U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, USADA, has approved CBD for U.S. Olympic athletes, but they only approve pure CBD, like Sterling CBD. Reason number 3, our organic hemp is FDA approved. At Sterling CBD, we quality control test at every manufacturing stage. We start with organic hemp plants and track them to our FDA-registered food-grade extraction facility. Our pure CBD products include capsules, isolates, lotions, and oils. We even have CBD pet products. You can find Sterling CBD at drernstscbd.com. Use the coupon code Dr. Ernst for 20% off your order.
What if we told you coffee was good for you?
Coffee is the single highest source of antioxidants in the Western diet. More antioxidants than kale, more antioxidants than 70% dark chocolate, and more antioxidants than blueberries.
In fact, what if we told you that coffee is really good for you?
Research shows that 3 to 5 cups of coffee per day dramatically enhances performance in high-intensity exercise, improves memory, reaction times, and overall cognitive function, decreases risk of depression, promotes weight loss by boosting metabolic rates, reduces risk of type 2 diabetes up to 40%, decreases risk of liver cancer up to 71%, reduces risk of Parkinson's up to 30%, and decreases risk of Alzheimer's up to 65%. Overall, coffee drinkers live longer. People who drink 3 to 5 cups of coffee per day have about a 15% lower risk of premature mortality compared to people who don't drink coffee.
Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. You're listening to the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. I'm your host, Dr. Aaron Ernst. And hey, it's the show where pounds are shed, disease is dead, and where you can be set free from your health problems. We've been talking about at the top of the hour about breaking free from anxiety. That sort of what if thought that goes around in our heads that can sometimes be paralyzing. Anxiety can not only just be a mental thought of a worry, concern, oh gosh, I'm highly anxious, I don't know what's going to happen, but it can also be an internal issue. It can affect your health in so many ways. Elevated blood pressure, cholesterol, cortisol. Cortisol starts to go up, and that leads to fat storage in the places you don't want it. Around your waist, around your abdomen, your hips, etc. We know that highly anxious people, unfortunately, tend to turn to prescriptive resources. Not everyone, but some of you guys do. And while Big Pharma will happily give you a this or a that or a loft or a lift or a punch or whatever, Lexapro, right? So like professional boxers, the way I look at that. Prozac, Zoloft, right? Lift, Effexor, Cymbalta, Celexa. There's so many I have to look at the list, guys. Xanax, Valium, Transaline, new one, if I pronounced it properly. But here's the thing. The approach of all of those is to do basically 3 things. Elevate GABA, which we got to start talking about. Elevate norepinephrine, and elevate serotonin. So if the drugs are trying to do that, what if we can go our own way of doing that? And that's what my topic of the day is. Way number 1, recognize you have 2 brains in your body. You have the brain in your head, which most of us know about, but you have the brain in your gut that we're just recently figuring out. That second brain has been found to produce the majority of the hormones you need in your brain to feel good. Did you know? If you've been listening to Top of the Hour, you're going to say, yes, I do, Dr. Ernst. 95% of serotonin is made in your gut. Only 5% of it's made in your brain. So look at the challenge of the pharmaceutical approach. Take this pill to make more serotonin in your brain. Well, only 5% is made there. So what could be a pill we take to help our gut make the brain better, make more serotonin? Well, there isn't one. Unless you make your own by looking at supplementation and food and sort of fermented products and probiotics as a pill you can take. Did you know that GABA, which is a precursed neurotransmitter made from glutamic acid, can be made in your intestines by the bacteria that are found in your gut? Specifically, a subgroup called Bacteroides. I know I'm using big words, but pay attention. Bacteroides. They produce GABA. And about 30% of your intestines should be Bacteroides by volume of all the bacteria. Sad reality. Most of us have like 5 to 10% of our bacteria as Bacteroides, and we have a ton of other what are called opportunistic or unhealthy bacteria. I want you to think of it like a lawn. Okay, we need a nice, clean, good, even relationship. So we want what you guys would consider to be an unhealthy lawn. I want some clover, and I want some grass, and I want some weeds, and I want some flowers. I want like this spread of a bunch of different types of things because that creates diversity. Now, if we look at your lawn as just one species of grass blades, you're going to say from a perspective of my lawn, look how great this looks. The only thing you see are the grass blades. Well, your intestines, that would be the worst thing you could ever have. We don't want just one strain of bacteria in your gut. You want thousands of different strains. Bacteroides is a major player. And what they've discovered is that people who have high levels of anxiety often have very low levels of Bacteroides, which is a subset of a type of bacteria that you need in your gut. Now watch this. There's a high likelihood the probiotic that you take that you think is good for your health and for your gut may not have Bacteroides in it. And so we need to make sure we're taking the right kinds of probiotics. This is why getting tested is so vitally important. We can find out what kinds of bacteria you're missing. GABA is sort of the precursed hormone that literally makes you feel like you're on cloud 9. So if GABA is low for most of us, what are some things we can do to elevate it? Well, number one, we need to recognize that there are certain foods that are high in glutamic acid, which elevate GABA. These foods also help to heal your gut. And because it's a gut-brain connection for anxiety, you're going to get a double whammy. Okay, number one, anything that's fermented. And why is that? Well, fermented foods have high levels of healthy bacteria in them, and you may be getting a good relationship, a better spread. It's almost kind of like you're seeding the intestines with other strains than what you have. So that includes things like sauerkraut and kimchi and kombucha and kefir, as long as it's non-dairy. So you can start looking into making your own fermented products. Why don't you head on over to AskDrErnst.com. Click the recipes tab about maybe 3/4 of the way down. You'll see a subsection that says fermented foods. These are actually very easy to make. You don't always have to go out and buy them. Just spend some time at home and make them. So we want to increase our fermented food consumption. Watch this. Walnuts, cashews, and almonds are extremely high in glutamic acid, which helps your brain and your gut to make more GABA. In fact, there's some research showing that even just a handful of cashews, if you're kind of like, whew, I feel like I'm about to explode, my anxiety is through the roof, I don't know if I can take it anymore. There are studies showing if you eat a handful, I don't know how many that is because everybody's hand's slightly different, but I don't know, probably 14 cashews, that an immediate reaction takes place and a calming effect kicks in. Cashews are extremely high in vitamin B6, which is a needed precursor to make GABA. Can we take GABA? Well, yes. But again, what I've always discovered is it's better to let your body produce it than to take it directly. If you're going to go out and get a GABA supplement, all right, 200 milligrams 2 to 3 times a day, what most people say is they start noticing a reduction in their anxiety. By the way, it also helps ladies if you're in a cycling phase for PMS-related symptoms, and it can also help to decrease blood pressure, regulate your blood sugar, help you to burn fat. Are you noticing a trend here? It can decrease anxiety, decrease blood pressure, burn fat, relieve pain, help you to sleep, reduce your anxiety levels. Why? Well, because it's a massively needed hormone for your brain. We need this hormone for everything to start functioning, and we need it to send the signal from your brain down to your gut to close the loop using the vagus nerve. So this is why a disconnection in the neurology will show up not just as anxiety, guys, but high blood pressure and cholesterol and blood sugar issues, and I can't lose weight and I have no energy. Do you see what I'm describing? The classic American. I want my health back. I want my energy back. I want to lose weight. Okay, let's pay attention to your gut-brain axis. This is why it's so vitally important, okay? We had a ton. I mean, like, my God. I think we set a world record for the number of calls during the last commercial break. Why was that? Well, I said if you want to lose 20 pounds in as little as 4 to 6 weeks, pick up the phone and call 704-906-2094. You know what happens is if I say, I'm going to teach you how to lose 20 pounds in 4 weeks, the phones start ringing. But watch this. If I say, I'm going to show you how to activate your immune response so you can destroy viruses and bacteria and pathogens and never have to worry about any sort of outside invader, cricket, cricket, cricket. Okay, but then if I say you can have a ton of energy, you won't have any sleep issues, and you can kick a medication to the curb, join me for the webinar, 704-906-2094. The phone starts ringing. So what I'm trying to share with you is this. If you get your brain-gut axis working, not only does it make you less anxious or less depressed, but it will help you with your energy. It'll help you with your numbers, cholesterol, sugars, triglycerides. It can help your thyroid. It can make your skin more beautiful. It can make you see more clearly. It can help you to remember things easier. Why is that? Well, guys, your brain runs your entire body. We need these hormones to be working. And where are they produced? They're produced in your gut. So we have to pay attention to our gut. So we talked about we got to cut out processed carbohydrates. We got to stop the grains. We have to stop the dairy. We have to stop things that cause damage. And we need to really start paying attention to a good, healthy, clean diet. Guys, it's so super easy. Head on over to the website, AskDrErnst.com. Click the download section. I have what's called our Cellular Healing Diet book. It's free. Start following that. You're going to find that a lot of what's in there is quite simple. We eat clean proteins, fish, chicken, turkey, eggs, grass-fed meat, beef products. We do a lot of vegetables, not a lot of fruits because they're high in fructose, which is an irritant and a stimulant. And we stay away from dairy and corn and wheat and rice and soy and oats. So therefore, boom, you have an entire menu and a list and everything for you. What are some things we could use right now to maybe help us calm down even further? Well, I'm going to read to you a really cool study, at least I felt like this was. A couple years ago, a randomized, double-blind, multi-centered German study found that if you make your own essential oil pill, I'm going to teach you how to do this today, using lavender and Roman chamomile, it has the same or better effect as a benzodiazepine, which is to try to help to elevate GABA. Benzodiazepines are some of the more commonly taken medications that includes Xanax, Valium, etc. If we get GABA up, we start to really feel good. What they found was there was a sense of calmness, less anxiety, less nervousness, less muscle pain, less headaches, more energy. How many of you would like that right now? Okay, ready? All they did in the German study was they gave them Roman chamomile and lavender oil orally. So you could go out to a local health food store and get something called a veggie cap. It's an empty supplement container. And you can put 5 drops of, it has to be therapeutic grade. So disclaimer, don't just go to like over-the-counter places and buy chamomile and lavender and think it's going to work. doTERRA, Young Living, therapeutic grade, high quality concentrated oils. 5 drops of lavender, 5 drops of Roman chamomile, mixed with either coconut oil or MCT oil in a veggie cap. 2 to 4 per day, and what happens? Well, the alternative therapies in health and medicine found that if it's taken orally, it reduces anxiety and depression as compared to a placebo. It worked better than nothing. They also found it had the same effect as benzodiazepines, which means it works almost the same as if you're taking an anti-anxiety medication. There's no harmful side effects. There's no interactions. It can help you tremendously, and you can do this on your own. So do you notice the trend? I like to try to teach people how to become their own doctors. I like to show them stuff you can do right now, super easy to get yourself out of the trenches of medicine and onto life's merry-go-round, having fun and being elated and happy. So if you're looking again to break free from anxiety, do what we talked about today. But also, pick up the phone. Take that next step. Join me for the webinar next week. Guys, it's free. It only requires you to commit to a 10 a.m. appointment on your computer in the comfort of your home so I can chat with you and show you how to build your energy, how to reset your spinal system, how to clean out your gut, reconnect your brain access. And while it might sound complicated, it's actually quite easy. We're going to be discussing free tests you can get. We're going to be discussing how to do this in the comfort of your home. And if you want to join us to lose 10, 15, even 20 pounds, to kick a medication to the curb, 704-906-2094. Hey, that's the number. Call or text your name and email. We'll get you registered. And I hope to see you next week, not just on the webinar, but also on the radio show, the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. That'll be at 3 o'clock next Saturday. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week. Until then, bye-bye.